Everybody poops. You do it. I do it. Every single human who has ever lived has done it every day for 300,000 years. It is the one great thing we all have in common, kings and cavemen alike. And for almost all of that time, there was no toilet paper. So stop and think about that for a second. Really think about it. What did they use? The answer is a tour through the very worst of human history, and by the end of it, you are going to want to go and hug your bathroom. Let us start with the obvious. For most of human history, the answer was simply whatever was within arm's reach. Leaves, moss, grass, a handful of soft ferns if you were lucky, a fistful of scratchy ones if you were not paying attention. In the desert, sand. In the far frozen north, snow, which is exactly as horrifying as it sounds. Near the coast, a handful of seaweed. People use smooth stones, people use sticks, and an enormous number of people use their own left hand and a splash of water. And that one leaves a mark on us to this day. Think about how in a huge part of the world, you eat with your right hand and only your right hand, and the left hand is considered unclean. You might have wondered where that rule even comes from. Well, now you know. The left hand was the toilet hand. For thousands of years, one hand did the wiping and the other hand did the eating, and you really, really did not want to mix them up. That rule is a fossil. It is a habit from the world before toilet paper that half the planet is still quietly following at every single meal without ever thinking about why. But leaves and hands are boring. Let us talk about the Romans, because the Romans were something else entirely. Picture a Roman public toilet. Now throw away everything you think a toilet is supposed to be. There were no cubicles, no doors, no little locks, no privacy of any kind whatsoever. It was one long stone bench with a row of holes cut into it, and you sat down on it, shoulder to shoulder, with up to 20 complete strangers. You did your business in a crowded room full of other people doing theirs, and you chatted the whole time. It was social. It was completely normal. People held business meetings in there. Now here's the part that is going to stay with you forever. Running along the floor in front of the bench was a little channel of fresh water, and sitting in that channel was a sponge on the end of a stick. One sponge on one stick for everyone. You finished, you reached down, you used the sponge, you gave it a rinse in the water, and then you passed it along to the next person waiting. The same sponge, all day long. That was the absolute height of civilization. That was the Romans, the people who built stone roads across an entire continent and aqueducts that are still standing today, all sharing a single communal sponge on a stick. The Greeks had gone a slightly different way. They used small, smooth pebbles and pieces of broken pottery, shattered old plates, basically. And there is a genuinely brilliant little detail buried in the archaeology here. Sometimes they used broken pottery that had the names of their enemies scratched onto it so that they could quite literally wipe themselves with the name of a person they hated, which is, when you really think about it, the pettiest and most magnificent thing any human being has ever done inside a toilet. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, China was actually busy solving the whole problem. The Chinese invented paper, and eventually somebody had the very obvious idea. By around the 6th century, they were already writing about using paper for exactly this purpose. And a few hundred years after that, they were mass-producing it softly for the emperor. The imperial court got through tens of thousands of soft, perfumed, neatly cut sheets every single year, while half the rest of the world was still out there reaching for a handful of moss. If you were a Chinese emperor 1,000 years ago, your bathroom situation was better than most of Europe would manage for the next 600 years. Because Europe, frankly, went backwards. In the Middle Ages, you got hay, straw, a rag if you owned one and did not mind using it more than once. And most people did not have a toilet at all. What they had was a bucket, a chamber pot, kept in the corner of the room or under the bed, and you filled it up through the night. And then, in the morning, you had to empty it. And the way you emptied it in a crowded town with no drains was that you opened the window and you threw the entire contents out into the street below. In Edinburgh, they would shout a warning first, a mangled bit of French that came out as Gardyloo, and if you were walking past underneath, that shout was the only thing standing between you and a very bad morning. The streets of medieval cities ran with it. You did not walk down the middle of the road to be polite. You walked down the middle to give yourself a fighting chance. In a grand castle, it was a little better, but not much. The toilet was a stone seat called a garderobe, built jutting out from the outer wall, and everything you did simply dropped down the outside of the castle, very often straight into the moat below. So the moat was not only there to stop invaders, it was also, in large part, exactly what you are now imagining it was. The defenders of the castle were protected by a moat of their own sewage. It worked on more than one level. And somebody had to deal with all of this, which brings us to what might be the worst job in the whole of human history, the gong farmer. In medieval towns, all the waste collected in deep pits underneath the houses, and the gong farmer was the man paid to climb down into those pits at night and dig it all out by hand, bucket by bucket. It was pitch dark, it was foul beyond words, and it was genuinely dangerous. The men doing it could be overcome by the fumes. Some of them fell in, some of them drowned in it. That was a real job that real people did every night so that a town could keep functioning. So the next time you are having a bad day at work, take a quiet moment to think about the gong farmer. And out in the countryside, people kept using whatever was cheap and close to hand. In colonial America, the great classic was the corncob. Yes, the corncob, dried out and used in exactly the way you are now dreading. Later on, people used the pages of old books and mail-order catalogues. The famous Sears catalog was so widely used for this that it actually came with a hole already punched through the corner, so you could hang it up on a nail in the outhouse. And when that catalog later switched to shiny, glossy paper, people were genuinely furious, because the shiny pages simply did not work. And here's the thing that turns us from disgusting into deadly. All that filth in the streets, all that waste soaking into the ground was leaking into the water that people drank. And for most of history, nobody understood that. So the diseases came. Cholera, dysentery, typhoid, waves of them sweeping through cities and killing people by the thousand, and nobody knew why. It came to a head in London in the summer of 1858 when the river running through the city got so hot and so foul that the smell alone shut down the government. They actually called it the Great Stink. And the stink is what finally did it. It was so unbearable that the men in charge finally paid to build a giant network of sewers under the city to carry all of it far away. That system of hidden tunnels quietly taking the waste out of sight is one of the reasons you are alive. The unsung hero of this entire story is the drain. And real toilet paper, the soft stuff on a roll that you take completely for granted, is shockingly recent. The very first commercial toilet paper only went on sale in America in the 1850s. The roll, as we know it, only turned up in the 1890s. And here is the real kicker. Even then, it was not reliably smooth. One brand's big, proud selling point, well into the 20th century, was that their paper was finally, at long last, splinter-free. Splinter-free, which tells you everything you need to know about what people had been putting up with right before it. So here's where you're standing, or rather, where you're sitting. You walk into a small room that is entirely yours. You lock the door, a thing that almost no human in history could ever do. You sit in total private silence. There is soft, clean paper, as much of it as you could possibly want, right there beside you, and when you are finished, you press one small lever, and clean water simply takes the entire problem away, out of your house, out of your life, gone forever, and you never think about it again. That is not normal. That is the single strangest luxury in this whole story. Every emperor, every king, every pharaoh who ever lived would have traded a chunk of their kingdom for your ordinary little bathroom, and you get it for free every single day, and you sit in there scrolling your phone and taking the whole thing for granted. Everybody poops. You just happen to be among the very first humans in 300,000 years who get to do it in comfort, in private, and splinter-free. You got lucky.